Hello children, today we shall be doing the poem Keeping Quiet from your book Flamingo. The poem has been written by Pablo Neruda. Neruda children was born in 1904 and died in 1973. This was his pen name. That means the name that he used for his writing as an author. He did not disclose his real name to the readers. Later on in life, this became his legal name. A Spanish poet, Pablo Neruda, kept his language very simple. That is, he wrote in such a way which was very easy for a common man to understand. Pablo Neruda also won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. Pablo Neruda children was critical of any kind of political or social oppression. The poem Keeping Quiet is a call for introspection of those human beings who have discriminated themselves on the basis of caste, color, creed, nationality and languages. The poem is presented in the form of an exercise. He tells all human beings to maintain silence for a moment, and in that exotic moment to understand what is the emotional requirement of the human life, how man is running after all the materialistic things, because of which man is not living the life which is so beautiful in itself. In the mad race, in the rush hours, man is lost and he doesn't know that in the rat race, in his race for progression, in his race for advancement, in his race for achievement, for accomplishments, man forgets to look back at what he is losing at what are his losses in life, what has he lost behind him. All men, according to Pablo Neruda, are equal. All men are same. All human beings are born alike. But then, why is it that they have discriminated themselves on the basis of nationality, on the basis of caste, on the basis of color? The poem Keeping Quiet Children, it follows the idiom, if speech is silver, silence is golden. For in the vast treasure of deep silence, one can find large resources of peace and tranquility. Silence creates an exotic moment where one forgets every type of segregation, wars come to a standstill, and a feeling of brotherhood prevails. Live and let live. The poem, it celebrates this adage, the necessity to follow this adage in life. The poem Keeping Quiet, the title itself reveals Pablo Neruda's urge for call for introspection among all human beings, among all living beings, to look into oneself, to understand the differences and to do away with them. This one moment of silence would be a great healer for life. Now, let us understand this poem, children.
Now, let's read and understand the poem. The first paragraph. Now, we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. So, when the poet says, we will count 12 and we will all keep still, the poet urges the reader to count 12 and maintain absolute stillness. Now, Why does he say the count 12? The count 12 would signify the 12 hours of daylight when there is maximum noise. He wants us to shun away all the noise and maintain silence for those 12 hours. Also, 12 could mean the 12 months of the year. Both the things, children, they indicate the manner in which our time is drowned in a noise that we create continuously. Further, the poet says, "For once on the face of earth, let's not speak in any language." This means that the poet appeals to observe at least once such moment on the earth when no words are used. He suggests that using no language besides the language of silence, for that would provide an opportunity to introspect. He wants that all human beings should introspect. The poet feels that if once we remain quiet and still, it will provide us with an opportunity to look into ourselves, to delve into our own thoughts. Moreover, during these moments, we will forget all the differences and enter into the world of peace. With this, he also believes that all negative sentiments would fade away in the depths of silence. Language, children, it breeds linguistic chauvinism, which further breeds the human desire to dominate over others. So, if for some time no one spoke on the face of the earth, the negative sentiments would come to an end. Further, he says, let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. When the poet says this, let's not move our arms so much, there is a pun used. What is a pun? P-U-N, pun. Children, pun is a literary device where a word or a phrase is used in a humorous way so as to suggest its different meanings or applications. Now, when the poet says that we should not move our arms so much, literally, with the words, it means that we should stand still so that without any movement, we should not face any kind of disturbance and introspect ourselves. But arms over here can mean the physical body part of a human being, and it can also mean the ammunitions that we use in warfare. The poet uses the pun by suggesting to stop the use of physical body part, and also he hints not to use any warfare gadgets. That is, he wants that all human beings should leave behind any kind of discrimination and live as brethren, live as brothers with the entire community of mankind. Over here, the poet also means that people should stop all movement because much of the turmoil, much of the disturbance, much of the distraction and unrest in this world is a result of man's desire to be progressive, his progressive nature. And if for some time man's activities could come to a standstill and he could stop gesturing by flailing his arms, automatically peace and tranquility would prevail. Now, coming to the next paragraph, the poet says, "It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. The poet, he attempts, children, to present to the reader the worth of the moment of silence. How beautiful it would be when there would be peace, there would be tranquility, there would be silence all around. He believes it to be an exotic moment which would be devoid of any kind of distraction, any kind of hurry, any kind of noise. It would have the strange power to bring together all humanity. This moment of deliberate silence, according to the poet, would be free of all violence, and it shall permit time for self introspection. When the poet says, without rush, without engines, what does he mean? This expression, children, it is symbolic of the hubbub. Of the hubbub means the rush of the progression, of the movement, of the advancement of modern life. In the modern competitive world of growth and progress, there is a rat race to outshine the other. Life can be peaceful, children, only if this thoughtless advancement can be stopped, if this competition with your own brothers can be stopped. And what do we understand by sudden strangeness that the poet talks about? That man will experience sudden strangeness when there will be quiet. The poet means that this exotic moment of introspection, it will build a sudden feeling of universal brotherhood, and this feeling of togetherness will be very new, of which all mankind today is very unfamiliar with, and hence he will find it to be very strange. Further, the poet says, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Children, observe the simplicity of language used by the poet. It is very direct in a layman's language. The poet says here, with more time to think about their actions and awareness about their power, men will exhibit their free will and stop harming the surroundings. He says that the fishermen, they will stop fishing, they will stop looking for fish. The poet also gives examples of fishermen not harming whales and a man collecting salt stopping for a while to examine his own injuries. What does the poet exactly want to convey over here is that man has a habit of being up and doing. Man is working all the time, and he is working towards his so called advancement, which has resulted in more harm than good to his own self. In this mad race, in this mad rush, man has lost the feeling of care and concern to his own self, not only to nature. Not only is man bringing harm to nature, to the surroundings, to his own brothers, but man is bringing harm to his own self also, and not even having time to look back, to look at his own injuries. See the image that the poet has created. The poet, he creates the image of man continuous suffering, man's continuous suffering, and his efforts to add comfort to his own life. Man has forgotten to look back at his own self. Man is not paying heed to the pain that he himself is undergoing and causing to his own self. However, when we shall all remain quiet for some time, when we are introspecting, while man is introspecting, man will get time to look after his own self as well and to heal his own wounds when the man is talking about the salt collector. Further, the poet says, those who prepare green wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Now, when the poet uses the expression green wars, he refers to the wars which man is waging against man, which man is waging against nature. Man's activities today are polluting nature, and the chemical and nuclear weapons that are created by man, they threaten to bring man to painful end only. So, man should give up these green wars. The poet also refers to the conflict that man has over land and air. And the poet wants to make us understand that the result for all the participants in such wars is a loss, is a defeat. These wars these bring a kind of victory, children, which cannot be celebrated by anyone, because in true sense no one is victorious. We all lay defeated, because in such wars we all lose, all the participants, they lose their own near and dear ones. A time zone of silence would make us aware about this bitter reality. It is when we will introspect, when we will keep quiet, when we will remain silent, it will help us to introspect. It will help us to delve into the depths of this reality that there is nothing in these wars. We should live together as brothers. And when, children, such a conscious effort for introspection will be made, man will shed all the bloody garments of war. Man will shed away all the hatred, all the ill will against his own brother, and they will adorn themselves, they will wear clean garments. The poet says, would put on clean clothes, that is, they will have a new, clean, better outlook of love, of brotherhood, of friendliness with each other. And then this approach, it will encourage everyone to move together like brothers as one under the soft and embalming shade, in place of violence and rage of conflict. Instead of violence, instead of conflict, instead of anger, instead of rage against each other, all will live as one, as brothers. And then he also adds that no one will have to struggle in the race of overpowering the other, because then no one will be against his own brother, no one will be against the other, and we will all live as one. When we do such an activity of introspection, it will also make us realize and strengthen humanity, and man will become conscious of universal brotherhood, which is actually the need of the hour. The destructive activities which man commits would come to a standstill, providing a healing touch to the entire mankind and hence to nature as well. Further, the poet says, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. Now see, children, once again we will note over here how with such simple language, the poet tries to explain his thought process. The poet says, the poet urges, the poet he pleads that he doesn't want the quietness to be confused with inactivity, with lethargy, that we should all sit down doing nothing, just sitting and talking and chatting. When he says to be quiet, to maintain silence, it is with a purpose of introspection, of looking into oneself and shunning away the turmoil that is within the human mind, within the human hearts, to give up all the negativity and adopt and live in harmony with all brothers. The poet he urges to look at life honestly for its simplicity. Life, it should not be interpreted as something complicated. Life is an experience. It's a beautiful experience of existence, and we should live our life happily. We should live our life peacefully. We should enjoy the beauty of quietness within and around us. His desire not to have struck with death. It is an idiom, children, that connotes having nothing to do with the end of life. He is not talking of bringing an end to life, of liveliness. No. What he wants is to live life peacefully and quietly without bothering about any jerks, which is actually an integral part of a happy and contented life. Peace is what is required by all. Further, the poet says, if we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Now, what does the poet mean by single minded? Man, the poet says that man has a single minded focus upon progress, upon advancement, upon progression, upon moving ahead. And man, he does so without thinking about the consequences as well. The consequences of his own actions, which will help him to continue moving ahead. The poet says, if we were not so single minded about keeping ourselves moving. Now, what does this mean, keeping ourselves moving? Now, this expression, children, it is a comment on the modern man's mechanized and busy life. Man has become mechanical. Man has become a machine. Man is treading the path of is himself walking on the path of destruction, giving it the name of progress. The path that man has adopted today of progression, of advancement, of moving ahead, that is actually ultimately leading to his own destruction, which man himself does not realize. Because of which the poet urges all to together maintain a huge silence. And then, trapped in this very rat race of mad competition, man has forgotten to look into his own self, to look for true peace, for true love, for true satisfaction. That man lacks today. Why? Because blindfolded, man is moving ahead without giving any time to repair, to heal his own wounds. Let's read again. If we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. So, the poet he says that if man would keep quiet and not involve himself in doing anything for a while, it will give time to introspect, to look into, to talk to oneself about one's true requirements. And in these moments of self analysis, he would realize the harm that he has caused to himself and to mankind as well. He would also realize the need of strengthening the relationship with his fellow beings. It is only when man will give time to his own self, when man will keep aside his materialistic desires and talk to his own self about his own requirements, about the true requirements of a successful life, man will realize that there is more need to strengthen the relationship with his own brothers. It might interrupt this sadness. Which sadness is the poet talking about? The poet says that man, in his race towards materialism, children, has sacrificed the fulfillment of his emotional needs himself. He does not understand. Man has forgotten, man has left behind his actual emotional needs that would keep him living, that would give him the true sense of life. Man does not understand the importance and has thus become very sad and isolated from within, and it is high time that a youth silence expression means that the entire humanity, the entire race of human beings all have to keep quiet at one point of time, so that there is total inaction out and man has enough time to look into himself, to answer himself what are his actual needs and what is he actually heading towards. Moreover, the increasing arms race and man's unthoughtful actions in the name of progress have cost the nature very dearly. It has we've had to pay a very high cost, children, just to satisfy our materialistic requirements, our materialistic needs. Thus, the threat of death has been brought upon himself by man. Man himself has caused death all around him in the rat race, in the mad race of the so called progression, which is actually leading to man's own destruction. Then the poet says, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. So here the poet finally he takes to nature. He talks about nature to make us understand the simplicity that runs the cycle of life, children. He asks us, the poet, he turns our attention towards Mother Earth, from which Mother Earth appears to be very quiet, appears to be very still, appears to be very lifeless and inactive. If you just see, Earth is at a standstill. But truly, actually, Earth generates life for all. It is full of hustling and bustling life, you can say. Everything which is born on earth, it goes through a process. It goes through a cycle of life, cycle of growth and performing the duties. Crops are grown, which are used by humans, which are used by animals. Everything that is born on earth is with a purpose. It fulfills its purpose, and then it leaves its path and gives way to the new things to come and take its place. So, when the poet says perhaps the earth can teach us. What can the earth teach us? The earth, children, it can teach us the lesson of preserving, the lesson of resurrecting life. Earth, it teaches us how life emerges from the ashes of the dead remains itself. And when the poet says, as when everything seems dead, what does this mean? This expression, children, is symbolic of the inactivity that appears. It appears as if everything around is inactive on earth from a distance. But if we see in reality, then what seems dead, it is actually full of life. This is the lesson that we need to learn from earth. And it will also prove to be alive later when it is observed very closely. Then we shall be able to observe old life giving way to the new and throbbing life, an eternal process that happens on earth. And in the end, the poet once again says, now I'll count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go. So, through the entire poem, after having explained his theme, his thought, his urge, his plea, his desire for humans, for humanity on the whole, having presented his own philosophy before all, the poet wants to take leave of the reader, and he wants that we readers should sit back in silence and introspect, experience within ourselves the power that is there, that lies in quietness. The central idea of the poet, his call to observe silence and introspect ourselves, it resounds, children, at the end, signifying the sincere desire of the poet about keeping quiet. His sincere desire, his true will, his true urge to all humans, to all the human race, to all mankind, to look into, to overcome the turmoil, to overcome the hustle and bustle, to overcome the rush within ourselves, and to maintain peace, to work further, to live as brothers, to live peacefully, to live the beautiful life as it is meant to be. The poet, he asks men at the end once again. In the beginning, remember, the poem began with this, and now we will count up to 12. And now in the end, the poet, he says that now he would count up to 12, and he asks men to keep quiet and experience their ecstasy, the moments of silence, which create a rejuvenation of thoughts and a change in mindset. This, children, will help us to achieve true peace even after the poet has gone, even after the poet leaves us at the end, to introspect, to look within ourselves.
All of you have understood the poem well. Now do go through the text and the explanation once more to understand it better. God bless you all.